December 15th, 1967. Deep in the jungles of Vietnam, something impossible is happening. Rain pours down for weeks beyond the natural monsoon season. Roads turn to rivers of mud. Supply lines crumble. North Vietnamese forces watch helplessly as their carefully planned operations dissolve in an endless deluge. They have no idea that high above the clouds, American aircraft are seeding the sky with silver particles, turning weather itself into a weapon of war. This isn't science fiction. This is Operation Popeye, America's most classified weather modification program. For 5 years, the United States military secretly extended monsoon seasons, created artificial storms, and wielded Mother Nature as a tactical advantage. But how far did these experiments really go? And what weather control capabilities does America possess today? 60 miles north of Anchorage, Alaska, stands a facility that conspiracy theorists claim can control hurricanes, trigger earthquakes, and manipulate global weather patterns. They call it HAARP, the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program. Rows of towering antennas stretch across the Alaskan wilderness like a scene from a dystopian thriller. Government officials insist it's merely a radio research station. Critics whisper, it's the ultimate weather weapon. But the truth about America's weather modification programs is far more complex and disturbing than either side admits. The story begins in 1946, when scientists discovered they could make clouds rain on command. By injecting tiny particles of silver iodide into storm systems, researchers learned they could trigger precipitation wherever and whenever they wanted. It seemed like a miracle technology that could end droughts, fill reservoirs, and save countless lives. The military saw different possibilities entirely. What if weather could be weaponized? What if hurricanes could be steered toward enemy coastlines? What if droughts could be artificially created to starve opposing nations? These weren't the fantasies of mad scientists. These were serious questions being asked in the highest levels of American defense planning during the Cold War era. By the 1960s, the United States had quietly developed the most sophisticated weather modification capabilities on Earth. Operation Popeye proved that cloud seeding worked on a massive scale. Over 2,600 sorties flew above Southeast Asia, extending rainy seasons by up to 45 days. The results exceeded every expectation. American pilots could literally make it rain on enemy positions while keeping their own supply routes dry. The program was so successful, it terrified its own creators. Military assessments revealed that weather modification had become an undeniable reality. The volume of induced rainfall couldn't be precisely controlled. Neither could the affected areas. What started as targeted tactical strikes had grown into something far more powerful and unpredictable. But Operation Popeye was just the beginning. Declassified documents reveal that American scientists were simultaneously exploring ways to trigger earthquakes, redirect hurricanes, and create artificial droughts. Projects with code names like Stormfury and Skywater pushed the boundaries of what many thought possible. The goal wasn't just tactical advantage in Vietnam, it was total environmental warfare capability. Then, in 1974, everything changed. Operation Popeye was exposed to the public, creating international outrage. The idea that any nation could secretly manipulate global weather patterns horrified world leaders. Emergency sessions at the United Nations led to the Environmental Modification Convention, banning weather warfare forever, at least officially. Today, the United States government maintains that it no longer conducts weather modification for military purposes. HAARP researchers insist their facility only studies the ionosphere and has no impact on surface weather. Yet questions persist. Why does the facility require such massive power capabilities? Why are so many operations still classified? And why do weather modification patents continue to be filed by defense contractors? Meanwhile, other nations have embraced weather control openly. China operates the world's largest civilian weather modification program, employing over 37,000 people to seed clouds across millions of square miles. They've successfully cleared skies for the Olympics and created artificial rainfall to combat droughts. If America truly abandoned weather modification research, it would be falling behind in a critical technological race. The implications are staggering. In an era of climate change and extreme weather events, the nation that masters weather control could hold unprecedented power over global agriculture, water supplies, and economic stability. The evidence suggests America never truly walked away from weather modification research. It simply moved deeper underground. Patents filed in recent decades reveal technologies that sound like pure fantasy, yet carry the weight of serious scientific backing. Atmospheric heating systems capable of altering jet stream patterns. Ionospheric manipulation techniques that could disrupt global communications. Electromagnetic pulse generators designed to trigger seismic activity. Consider the timing. Every major natural disaster seems to coincide with geopolitical tensions. Hurricane Katrina struck just as America faced mounting criticism over Iraq. The 2010 Haiti earthquake devastated a nation already struggling with political instability. Coincidence? Perhaps. But when you possess the technology to trigger such events, coincidence becomes increasingly difficult to believe. HAARP's true capabilities remain shrouded in secrecy. Officials claim it can only heat small patches of the ionosphere for legitimate research purposes. Yet the facility's power output exceeds anything necessary for basic atmospheric studies. The antenna array can generate over 3 million watts of radio frequency energy, focused into a beam capable of heating the ionosphere to temperatures exceeding 30,000 degrees Fahrenheit. What happens when you superheat the ionosphere above a specific geographic region? The heated air rises, creating pressure differentials that cascade down through atmospheric layers. These pressure changes can influence jet streams, which control weather patterns across entire continents. Alter the jet stream's path, and you can redirect storms, create droughts, or trigger unprecedented rainfall thousands of miles away. The technology exists. The infrastructure is operational. The only question is whether America has the will to use it. Publicly, the answer remains no. Behind closed doors, former military officials tell a different story. They speak of weather warfare capabilities that make Operation Popeye look primitive by comparison. Systems that could cripple enemy nations without firing a single shot or losing a single soldier. But perhaps the most disturbing revelation isn't what America might do with weather control technology. It's what other nations are definitely doing. Russia has operated ionospheric heating facilities for decades. China's weather modification program grows more ambitious each year. North Korea has invested heavily in atmospheric research, despite having virtually no legitimate scientific community. The weather wars have already begun. They're simply being fought in the shadows, disguised as natural disasters and climate anomalies. Every hurricane, drought, and flood now carries the potential for human manipulation. Every extreme weather event raises the same haunting question. Was this Mother Nature's doing, or something far more sinister? As climate change accelerates and resources become scarcer, weather control technology represents the ultimate strategic advantage. The nation that masters these capabilities doesn't just influence the battlefield, it controls the planet's most fundamental life-sustaining systems. Food production, water supplies, energy generation, human migration patterns all become weapons in an invisible war fought in the sky above our heads. America's weather modification programs may have started as military experiments in the jungles of Vietnam, but they've evolved into something far more powerful and terrifying. The ability to play God with the very forces that sustain human civilization, whether that power is being used responsibly or at all, remains one of the most closely guarded secrets in modern history. One thing is certain: the next time severe weather strikes anywhere on Earth, we may never know if we're witnessing an act of nature or an act of war.